What's up, guys? Happy Friday, August 20th. Man, where did the month go? So fast, so quick, but hey, that's a good thing. Football, couple weeks away, and then it's really go time, holding us over until we are grinding basketball, football every day. What a wonderful time of the year that is, man. I hope you guys crushed it yesterday. We did not do a live stream yesterday, but you guys went all out on the early only game-by-game breakdown video, man. I appreciate that. We did some better MLB numbers than usual. So maybe on days where there is an early slate versus doing a first look main slate video, maybe we just keep throwing out the early slate breakdowns, and we'll see if we can keep that going with football on the horizon. The numbers for football a lot bigger, man. What's up, chat? What up, R. Stanley? What up, Matt? What up, Tone? How we doing today, boys? I'm trying to wake up. I really am. I'm trying to get this bang in and going. Just took a hot shower. Restarted the computer. It wants to go slow, but we are here, man. We have a lot of baseball to talk about tonight. 28 teams on the slate, 14 games. You know the drill. Fanduel, DraftKings, PrizePicks, wherever you play. We're going to talk today and hopefully come away with some picks and some options for you guys to carve out your player pool. But more importantly, me carving out my player pool. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. But yeah, that's what we do. We go game by game here. This stream, of course, brought to you by PrizePicks.com. If you guys haven't checked out PrizePicks and you want to show me some love, go over there, sign up using code GUNDACKER, and then their love hits me. But also, you guys can just get a good deal. Get double your initial deposit up to $100. No slow drip. Instant credit. You throw a $20 bill at them, they'll say, hey, this is good for $40 here, and then you can peruse the site, make yourself some tickets, bet against fantasy projections, player props, stuff like that. And it's not limited to one sport. You guys can mix and match CSGO, esports, soccer, the big three, NASCAR, whatever you can player prop on and sports bet on. There's probably a good chance there's a line for it on PrizePicks. So go check that out. And then, of course, rundfs.com. If you guys want access to the spreadsheets we'll be using throughout the duration of this stream, they are a premium perk of having a subscription at rundfs.com. On these big slates, there's really no easier way to expedite the research process. If you love the thrill of the game-by-game research, this thing paints a perfect picture, giving you all of the splits and platoons and pitcher info, the quick advanced metric information, all in one spot. Very convenient. Plus, we get a little bit deeper, and we get some projections based on our bomb detector models and our K Factory model. So I love it. It's literally my creation over the course of the last 6-7 years, and every incarnation just gets better, bigger, stronger. And you guys know the bomb detector's pretty savvy. What up, Sean? I already work at RCM Halifax. Anybody know where that is? Halifax, yeah. Is that... there's a couple Halifaxes. Are you talking about like New Jersey? Maybe. What up, Rich Homie Quinn? What up, Shark Killer? Percy MF Pringle. Rest in peace, Percy. I actually have a little bit of a history with Percy, but really good dude. Really good dude. You from New York? I am from Staten Island, South Beach, but by way of Waco, Texas right now. I'm in Myrtle Beach. Oh, man, you are living the big life. Man. But I have been very nomadic. At least I was for the first 23 years. Last 10 years or so, we've been pretty rock steady in Central Texas. So maybe we'll shake that up soon, but we'll see. We'll see. What up, Josh? First Josh sighting of the day goes to Gilham. There are plenty more to come, man. You guys are crushing it. Yo, Fanduel, YouTube, they're letting us do a couple different things. One, you guys already know we do the channel membership. I'll have way more information on that as NFL gets here. But they've added an option that is kind of like the Twitch followers only option, where only subscribers to the YouTube channel can chat if you enable it. And I enabled it. So if you guys are wondering why the F you can't type in chat, it means you're not subscribed, which means you're not a real OG. But it's okay. You can become a real OG instantly by clicking that red button, man. Lived in Carrollton, Texas. Carrollton's a good little place. Rich place from what I remember, right? A lot of above average median income levels. Man, you boys ready to talk some baseball? I mean, look at this slate real quick. Like we said, 14 games. There's going to be plenty of pitching options, plenty of offense options. But at the top of your pitching pool here, Walker Buehler, Robbie Ray, Chris Sale, Lance McCullers, Lucas Giolito. So there are some ace-like arms on the slate to dabble with. Yesterday's main slate, the 4-gamer, became a 5-gamer if you were in on the main 3 pitchers. And it was actually a really good case study and example of something I talked about on the first look video, where you often hear about people stacking against the chalk pitcher or whatever. And I think that's definitely a slate-by-slate basis, because chalk, definition of chalk for individual interpretation tends to vary user to user. In the last live stream, I put up a question in chat, which was, how owned does a pitcher have to be for you to consider him chalk? And I saw some of you guys say 10%. I saw some of you guys say 20%. But for me, yesterday on the main slate, and really the early slate too, those were great examples of when I think a pitcher is really, really chalk. And that's when you see guys like Brandon Woodruff hit 60, 70% owned in Massfield tournaments. And I talked about the viability in what the heck stacking against the top pitcher. And it's not necessarily the lazy, in case this guy gets shelled at 15% owned. It's when the guy is 60, 70% owned, I'm already invested him in my lineup, so we know the field is. So one of the lowest owned stacks on the slate has to be the stack against the Brandon Woodruff, and it's a low percentile outcome. But we saw some viability and some value in the Cardinals bats after the fact. So what did it cost you if you stacked the Cardinals? Well, you probably could have been over the field at 3 to 5%, and then in 100, 150 lineups of a 4-game slate. what is that really hurting? Nothing really. So maybe you guys learned something there, and it maybe hopefully that happening on the same day where I kind of talked about it on the early Slate first look video. Kind of put it into play. Now, the median range of outcome there is for Brandon Woodruff to be a super solid play, but every now and then, baseball just gives you opportunities to use insane amounts of leverage that you just don't have that ability to do elsewhere. And leverage is very important in baseball more than anything else, especially when you get that much of it on a short slate, because the failure rate in baseball is pretty doggone high. So when 60 to 70, 75% of the field is on a guy, it doesn't cost you much to push back. But that's also like a strategy I use against myself in my own lineups too. And we'll talk more about it during like the NBA season. But if I'm 80% on a guy in 150 lineups, then maybe I go hit a single entry and just literally fade, the guy that I have the most of, and hedge against myself. Anyway, what up, T Nation? Appreciate that subscribe. I'm so used to saying follower because of Twitch. What up, Adam Gunn? You doing NFL preseason streams? No, but we will absolutely be grinding NFL content. There are some really good NFL preseason streams out there. So I'm just kind of like knowing my way. Where's my best benefit to the people? But no, I don't have NFL preseason streams, but we will have all kinds of content for regular season. Preseason's a grind. You got to really read practice reports and beat writer notes and stuff like that. And I just ain't got the patience, and I don't really want to like put my name on a preseason player. Right? Oh, this guy might get 2 drives. Let's play him. I've done really well in preseason historically, though. But it's going to be a long season, so I don't want to get burned out too quickly, right? Do you know Chip in a chair? Do you know Chip and Joanna in Waco? No, I get that question a lot, though. I didn't even know about that show until it's probably like 3 years in. I used to always get that comment on YouTube. It's like, say hello to Chip and Joanna. And I always just thought it was like an obscure poker reference that I didn't know. It's like, because Chip, right? And then one day I was watching, I don't know, that show, and I was like, oh, I get it now. Faded Woodruff last night, paid off. Yeah, and I'm not saying Woodruff was ever a bad play pre-flop. That's not the context of that. It's more so the ranges of outcomes and the leverage never being as high and easily obtainable as that it was in that situation, right? 4 games, you can get a less than 3% owned and then double leverage that against a 65% owned pitcher. It's just that doesn't it's not something you really get in like other sports, and it's not something that's really profitable in other sports either, right? Like, you're not going to play a defense against the chalk quarterback because of that. It's just it's baseball, the nuances. But that, I don't know. I just thought it was like really, really good timing for that to happen after I kind of spent some time on that on the early video. What up, Josh Jennings? Josh number 2 for today. Laffy Annabelle, Laffy also has incredible content. Like, I'm not saying this because they bring me in for baseball, but like they have such a really strong and good selection process to bring in analysts, and it's from like different backgrounds, different walks of life. Laffy, and you can listen to somebody for 5 minutes and know if they know it or they don't. That dude is a beast. So go check out. If you guys haven't seen that, check that out. I actually saw on Twitter the other day he had a video hit 100K, which is huge. And anyone that's in the space should be like excited that type of traction is happening. But yeah, I do believe Austin was going to have a preseason video today, Adam. So check that out. Maybe we should talk some baseball though. Blabbering long enough. Let's get into it, man. We got a couple lineups out. We'll go game by game here. If we get lineups that are confirmed, I'll type it in before we really process it and break it up. But otherwise, you guys know the drill, man. If you guys already done a little bit of research, drop your picks, your ideas in chat. This is a group thing. This is not necessarily an advice thing. It's going to be a lot of talking out loud and doing a little bit of research. So be sure to share it with the class if you got some hunches, or if you got some questions, we'll tackle that as well. And let's do it. Josh says, look at all these Joshes. A couple of you guys are late. Do the playoff hunt teams factor into your lineup construction? Do their pitchers go for ratings? Yes, Josh, that's an incredible question. A great team for me, and a pitcher that I've leaned on quite a bit is like Charlie Morton. I think the Braves have like a 4-game lead now on the NL East, but that was a very tight race 2 weeks ago, and you need to get the most out of your best. And I definitely think that's a great example of a team that's going to lean heavily on their aces or their top end pitchers, and then adversely pick on teams that got nothing to play for, right? The Tigers, teams like that their starters out there getting shelled. Well, let them wear it, and it becomes a full-on punt bullpen game. So definitely, it's definitely a checkbox on the list. It's not necessarily a must or something to avoid, because you could twist just about anything. Like the Brewers and the White Sox, for instance, these are teams that are going to create space at the top of their divisions, especially the White Sox. There's a chance by this time next month, the White Sox have 15-20 game lead on the division, and they'll maybe want to be careful with their pitchers and limit innings. So that can go many which ways, but right now teams that are in the hunt, like scrapping for positioning, those are the teams that I think will try and get the best out of their best, right? What up, T Nation from Staten Island? Also New Dorp. What up, New Dorp? It's been a while since I've actually lived in Staten Island, but I was there. It's actually probably been like 11 years since I've been to Staten Island. But I went to PS 39 in South Beach, and then also IS 49 many moons ago. Love Gomber. Arizona's averaging stunning 3.8 runs per game in Coors this season. Love Snell. All right, I'm with that. Going both pitchers from the Boston game. Is this dumb or is this okay? What up, John Galicia? Excuse me. Welcome back. Dane Dunning versus Sale. I definitely would be there on Sale. Playing Dane Dunning is probably got a lot more risk than you need on a 14-game slate, especially going against a top offense like the Red Sox, a team that definitely has something to play for, getting jumped by the Yankees. Right now, the Red Sox aren't a playoff team, I believe. So their bats will want to bring it. So I would be less inclined to go that route, but Sala, I think, is going to gravitate towards the top. Raise my number one for sure. I need a solid number two on DK. All right, let's do it. Let's jump into it, man. Game number one on this slate. We got the Twins and the Yankees. The Yankees lineup did just come out, so we'll get that updated. DJ LeMahieu, Aaron Judge is batting second. Joey Gallo. Are you saying Joey Gallo? Luke Voit batting fifth. Luke Voit led off yesterday, which, if you guys haven't been inside the New York sports bubble, Luke Voit had a quote the other day about how he deserves to play as much as Anthony Rizzo, and I don't think he meant that negatively. I think he meant that as, he deserves to play, and so does Rizzo, and it's up to Booney to get them the at-bats. And then he led off yesterday as the DH. Looks like today Rizzo does have the day off, going against the southpaw Charlie Burns, and Nestor Cortez on the bump for the Yankees. Pair of lefties. Cortez, somebody we've seen stretch himself out and fill a role. If you guys haven't seen him pitch, he's a very funky, gimmicky delivery guy, but it's been really effective. One of their better inning eaters, and really a strikeout guy, even despite having like a swing and strike rate that doesn't necessarily support massive K rates. I think his unique arm slots and mixing it up and timing and stuff like that is stealing him some more strikeouts. But hey, whatever works. 6 innings against the Chicago White Sox, a really menacing team against left-handed pitching. So at 7.7K, I do think there's a world where we think about playing some Nestor Cortez today in Mass Entry. The Twins do have a lot of righty projected bats in this lineup, a lot of power as well. But Cortez if you can get past that 4.19 xFIP, nearly a 27% K rate, 205 average allowed, and a 0.75 home run per nine, you do expect some negative regression. Now we got to specify because his fly ball rate and line drive rate is elevated, but the hard contact rate is really, really pristine. So I definitely don't mind putting a little bit of Cortez in the mix here, but the Twins do have a projected lineup that don't have a ton of strikeouts. Donaldson, Garver, and Miguel Sano. I think I heard Miguel Sano had a baby. And I don't know if you guys have heard news, but when I was watching the broadcast yesterday, he homered late, by the way. But they said that he was going to get on a plane and go back to his baby. I didn't know if that was like them breaking the news that he was going to go on paternity leave, or if they meant that after the series he's going to go back home to the baby. But if Miguel Sano wasn't on the slate, more than likely they replace him with a guy like, I don't know, Williams Estudillo, and he strikes out a lot less. So maybe the upside in this matchup isn't crazy for strikeouts, but I definitely understand the soft landing at 7,700 for Cortez. I wouldn't push back on that if you wanted to put that in the player pool. On Charlie Burns, I'm not going to touch him. Yankees have a 6.1 implied run total, a 14% K rate to righties. It's just 18 innings of sample size. Hasn't struck out any lefties yet. Don't expect him to do much or go deep or anything like that, and there really doesn't seem to be any built-in strikeout potential in his metrics thus far. So I don't really see a reason to get to Charlie Barnes. If he breaks the slate, he breaks the slate, but at 5,500, you really probably need 25 plus to break a slate, and value being so subjective, especially on these bigger slates where multiple ways to skin a cat, rises to the top. I'm just not there on Barnes. 3 strikeouts, 2 strikeouts. This is gonna be a dangerous team as a lefty to allow some contact. So I'm not gonna touch Charlie Barnes. I'm going to be there on the Yankee stack. High run total, and going against a guy that's going to allow you to put the ball in play. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo. I mean, these guys are the reason the StatCast has a job. So all those guys are in play for me. And outside of Aaron Judge, and Judge is still very, very affordable in context of a slate at 5,100. This is a really cheap Yankees lineup. And if it wasn't for the fact there's so many upside offenses on this slate, I'd be worried about their ownership. But I think ownership will be fine everywhere. I can't imagine a team gets too crazy on a 28 team slate. So I'm in on the Yankee stack. I'm in there on Cortez. No Twins pitcher. If you wanted to play some Twins bats, I wouldn't push back on getting some of these power guys in Yankee Stadium. Mitch Garver against the lefties, sure. Josh Donaldson, guys like that. But I'm just cherry picking there. Let me get caught up on chat. What's up, Aiden Jones? Yo, Gun, love the content. How many players do you recommend putting in a player pool for 20 max? So if anything other than single entry, I would probably be looking at team stacks more than individual players. I like focusing on individual players and like single entry, 3 entry, stuff like that, and then I start working with handcuffs. But in 20 maxes, I'll almost always still stack. And a real simple way to do that is maybe find 5 teams to stack 4 times each, or find 4 teams to stack 5 times each, depending on the slate size. This is probably a slate where I'd seek out 5 teams. Now, as you grow as a player and understand leverage and ownership projections, maybe you can twist those numbers a little bit. But my favorite strategy for 20 max is to find a couple teams to stack still. By the way, I was hoping that this sub-only thing would work, and it is. So shout out to Adam for subscribing to the channel. Shout out to Josh Plays, Aiden Jones. Welcome to the channel, man. Appreciate you guys hitting that subscribe button and showing some love. Chris Sale's numbers don't look enticing when you look deeper. We'll definitely look deeper. But Chris Sale's Chris Sale, right? I don't want to get too caught up in short sample size Chris Sale. We know what long-term Chris Sale can be and what he can do. We'll try and catch up with that. Shark says, Gentleman Chris Adams, rest in peace. Gun, my wife Marissa Van Zant wants you to shout her out. Hurry up before she gets out of the car. Hey, shout out to Marissa Shaw Van Zant. You got yourself a catch. Make him a great dinner tonight. Let the man enjoy some dinner. He put in work for you all week long. Yeah, and stay warm, stay cool. It's hot out there. Rizzo's much better than Voit. I agree as a whole, but I'm not poo-pooing on Voit. I just think Rizzo is a little less injury prone, platinum defender, and he, in terms of what the Yankees needed, is a left-handed bat that can balance things out. There was a time and a place for Luke Voit, but when we have Stanton, when we have Judge, it is what it is. But I still think, I want Voit to be there, and the fact that Giancarlo Stanton's been rotating in and out of the field is good for Voit. It's just another incredible power bat to have. Yankees batters definitely look the chalkiest on the slate. Yeah. Yankees number one negatively leveraged. All right. Well, we'll see what some numbers are as we get closer to lock. Let's move on to the next slate games. Braves at the Orioles. Braves lineup is out, so we'll get that caught up. Ozzie Albies, Jorge Soler, Freddie Freeman, Austin Riley. I hate Austin. Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, Travis d'Arnaud is batting sixth. I heard that he got an extension. Adam Duvall and Guillermo Heredia with young Jock Peterson batting ninth. That's your confirmed Braves lineup. I love this lineup. If I did a first look video, you bet it would have involved Ozzie Albies against the lefty, Keegan Aiken, 17% carry to righties, 331 average allowed, 148 home run per nine. Somehow his home runs have been more so on the road, but it's fine. I'm going to be there on Albies. I'm going to be on the full Brave stack, get into this bullpen, which has been a traveling Coors Field, and the Braves right now have an implied run total of 6.2. So easily 2 games in. I like the Yankees quite a bit, but I really like the Braves. I think the Braves give you a little bit higher floor because they have a little bit more hit for average guys on the roster, and the Orioles bullpen is so bad. So give me some Brave stacks here for sure. Max Fried on the bump for the Braves. He's 8.6K on DraftKings. Temperatures in the 70s in Camden, so it's not one of those super hot, super massively humid days that maybe you could push back against Fried. I think Fried could be a guy you put in the back end of your pitcher pool. If you get up to 10%, I don't hate it. Trey Mancini, watch for him to be in the lineup. He's missed quite a bit of time in the last week, but I think he's close. He's on the come up, right? So I don't mind targeting a couple of these Orioles hitters. I probably don't dedicate full 5 stacks of the O's today, but if you landed on some Mancini, some Santander, Mountcastle, guys like that, definitely wouldn't push back. But you can give me a little bit of Fried for back end of my pitching pool, and Brave stack. I love the Brave stack. Albies is going to cost you, Freeman's going to cost you, Riley's going to cost you. But I say it all the time. The bigger the slate, the easier it is to get to these guys, and maybe the pricing. The prices being what they are cumulatively. Just talking about the Yankees and their prices. These guys are going to be a lot more expensive than the Yankees. Yeah, a lot of stuff is happening in my headset right now. We're good though, right, chat? I think we're good. I just want to make sure I didn't lose connection, right? What up, Keith? Toronto's my favorite. Your favorite stack? Nice. Braves are my number 1 team. Dodgers number 2. Braves so high priced on DraftKings. Yeah, Braves will probably make you have to get a couple 2K bats, maybe a 2K catcher if you don't get the d'Arnaud, and probably get cheap at your SP2. But that's the beauty of baseball. It's not going to be that hard to uncover plays like that. What else we got? Stacking these. All right, that's it. All right, so that's it. Until we get an Orioles lineup, I mean, that pretty much covers that. Keep that one simple. Stack some Braves. Play a little bit of Fried. Detroit Tigers at the Blue Jays. Tigers confirmed lineup is out. It's going to be Robbie Grossman, Jonathan Scope, Jamer Candelario, Miguel Cabrera, Renato Nunez from the bad spelling department. Daz Cameron Daz, and Grayson Greiner. That is your confirmed Tigers lineup. We don't have a confirmed Blue Jays lineup yet, but Blue Jays, they are probably happy to be back in Rogers Center. A little bit of a weird road stretch where they lost the DH, but back home in Rogers Center, they still don't have George Springer. He went on the IL, but this lineup has definitely been very menacing, and they get the pitching stylings of Tyler Alexander, who has an xFIP almost at 4.9, a 297 average allowed to righties, and a 175 home run per nine. We can definitely isolate those numbers and even back it up, because that's very similar to what we've seen from him every year so far. So it doesn't seem like a short sample size thing. The Blue Jays likely come out extremely righty heavy. Guys like Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr., Teoscar Hernandez, Lourdes Gurriel, and Randall Grichuk. Every single one of them you could give to me in this spot, and I would be happy with it. A couple of these guys, 5 to 6K. Vladdy Jr. is over 6K. But the matchup's the matchup, and it seems pretty pure to me. So I'm there on the Blue Jays. I don't really think there's a lineup that they could put out that I wouldn't be an investor in. So we're happily going to add the Blue Jays stack to the mix, to the Braves, to the Yankees. Robbie Ray's 9.9K on DraftKings. A big strikeout upside guy. This Tigers lineup has allowed some big performances from opposing pitchers, and Robbie Ray, I think, will likely gravitate towards being a top 4, top 5 owned pitching play on the slate, but I got no pushback. I think he's really good. Might give up an errant homer or two, over a 1.5 home run per nine for the last 3 years against righties. Maybe Miguel Cabrera catches number 500 on a different country, but other than that, I'm not really feeling inclined or enamored with this Tiger stack. Blue Jays are an example of a team that, if they're gonna fight, they gotta fight now, and they gotta beat the teams that they're supposed to beat if they want to get back in that hunt. So I don't mind them leaning on Robbie Ray quite a bit. You look at his couple of last starts in terms of pitch counts and performances: 90, 86, 109, 108. Last game got him to 7 innings. 6+ innings in 4 straight games is incredible. 2 of those games against the Boston Red Sox. 9.9K, really with any pitcher. My philosophy is try to get to somebody that realistically gets you over 20 DKP, over 8.5K on DraftKings. And I think this matchup, he probably does that a good amount of times. And how many times does he tap into the high upsides, the 30 DKP? I think it's a decent enough amount of times for me to be an investor in him. Jonathan Scope has the only bomb detector rating over 4 on the squad, but Miggy and Renato Nunez and Zach Short not that far behind, but I think that might be a little bit more weighted because Ray has been more susceptible to righty power than necessarily looking at these guys. Although there's a couple ISOs over 200. So give me some Ray, give me some Blue Jays. You can cherry pick some Tigers, but I'm probably not stacking them, What's up, Adam? With a slate this big, I think I can get different pain down at pitcher and get in those bats. Yeah, I don't want to get on another chalk tangent, but usually 14-game slates, chalk is not that hard to overcome. Gonna be a lot of 15% guys that people are thinking is massive chalk right now, but they only get 15-20%, if that, and it's really easy to take that and get different elsewhere. The push, the negative connotation comes because the 20%ers do have such a high failure rate, but I wouldn't be scared to play a guy because on this slate, there's a cloud of chalk above them. It's more so the smaller slates that I would really weight that highly. Before we move on, we did just get a Blue Jays lineup. Bo Bichette's leading off, and that's interesting. Marcus Semien is batting second. So Bo Bichette does get a little bit more of a value uptick from a lineup change, maybe gets into 5-6 at bats if they're really clicking versus 4 or 5. Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup. Lourdes Gurriel. Alejandro Kirk is your catcher here. He's 3.1K. I was hoping he'd be in the 2Ks. Kevin Smith also in this lineup, and Santiago Espinal. So it does kind of fall off a cliff in terms of name value, but it's still a pretty rock solid lineup. But 1 through 5 is really the height of my interest. So doesn't change a whole lot. I'm still there on the Blue Jay stack, but it's nice to have that lineup out. Marlins at the Reds. Next game on the docket. Reds lineup has been confirmed. English is hard. Jonathan India, Tyler Naquin batting second. I do like that because he's 2.3K, and he's in one of the more positive parks on the slate. So he would absolutely be somebody we tag as a top value play to help us go get those 5-6K bats and some of those aforementioned stacks, right? Mike Moustakas is batting sixth. He's down to 4.5K. Still a little bit of a price on him, but he's not a 5K, 6K untouchable. And then Sonny Gray's on the bump here for the Reds. He'll be battling Eliezer Hernandez, who has shown a little bit of strikeout propensity since they called him up and since he was in the minors. I think his last minor league game, he had 10 strikeouts. We were looking at his pitch count. He got up to 82 pitches against the Cubs. So if he's on maybe 90 plus, like I said, good strikeout guy. Only got 4 strikeouts in 5.1 innings against the Chicago Cubs, but I think we should probably project him on an average day to be a strikeout per inning guy, if not a little bit more. A 13.6% swing and strike rate in the 12 innings of sample size this season, but 13% last year. And then in the minors, like I said, the strikeouts were there. The pushback here is the Reds don't care. They have been really good, and they have seen some much better pitching than Eliezer Hernandez in the last 2 weeks. I think they had the stint against the Phillies, the Zach Wheelers of the world. There's a couple of guys in this lineup that are just really, really locked in. India and Joey Votto, my favorite 2 guys to lean on. But Tyler Naquin has an incredible spot at 2,300 on DraftKings to really fill out a lineup and be a great salary saving option. A lot of high ISO in the Reds just tend to show up at home and consistently be one of the higher scoring teams when they are playing at home. So the red stack is in play for me. Hernandez, weakness in all of his seasons of sample size has been power to righties. So a guy like Jonathan India has been pretty rock steady since the All-Star break. Really the last, since before the All-Star break. Maybe gets into another one. Nick Castellanos, somebody else to look after to take advantage of this home run per nine allowed to righties. And even lefties can get into them, though they seem to do it a little less consistent than righties. So not really going to overthink who we play from the Reds. Hernandez and his strikeout rate is interesting enough that I wouldn't push back if you wanted to play him, put him in your pool, and say, hey, I think he can get to 20 a decent chunk. And I think that's fine. Like I don't know in this moment that I would have none of Hernandez by the time lock hits, but I do fear the Reds enough, especially at home, that he wouldn't be a priority no matter what. But I don't want to get my pitching pool to be too diverse, right? 10, 15, probably going to be a little bit too much. So if I can keep it to like 8 or less, I'd be happy with really sharp emphasis and high emphasis on the top 4, top 5. So Hernandez is good for strikeouts, but really, really tough matchup. Sonny Gray, 24.8% carry rate to righties and a 32.3% carry rate to lefties. This Marlins lineup right now projects more righty heavy than lefty heavy, but the 2 guys in their lineup that I think are the problem here, probably going to be Jazz Chisholm, who has been one of the more exciting plays, and then Jesus Aguilar, who has been a way different. He's had way different results on the road versus at home. His home run splits, I think he only has like 3 or 4 homers in Miami, and the rest are on the road, and he's dang near pushing, I feel like he's dang near pushing 20 plus, right? If he hasn't already gotten over 20. So he's somebody I'd be looking at. Sonny Gray does allow a little bit of power to righties as well, 167 home run per 9. So Aguilar is somebody that might project decently. He's still going to be a heavy ground ball guy, so I think Sonny Gray is somebody I'd rather play than Hernandez. But I don't know that I would like completely X out all the Marlins from my player pool. It's one of the more beneficial parks that you'll see them play in. So it's going to be a loose interest, but still an interest nonetheless. A little bit of cherry picking here. I don't see myself getting to like a full-on Marlins stack, but there's a couple of guys with enough pop to be activated in the optimizer. But Sonny Gray definitely in the pitcher pool for me today. I think I start him as a tier 2. I think the strikeout rates in this Marlin lineups is just too high for me to not start him as a tier 2. And if you guys are curious what I mean by that, I like to have 3 tiers for pitchers: tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And because of the park, I think that's the only reason I'd have Gray as a tier 2 right now, and I might build up from that later. But I can't have like 5 tier 1s, you know. So Sonny Gray definitely going to be a tier 2 starter for me, and he might graduate to a tier 1 as we get closer, but I think right now tier 2 is a really strong start for him. So give me some Reds bats, give me Sonny Gray as a decent fixture in my pitching pool, and then a couple of Marlins bats. Right now I'm going to say no on Hernandez, but I wouldn't push back if you got there. And I don't want to rule out the possibility of me getting there by the time lock hits, right? John says, so right now I got Sale and Dunning for about 14K total. If I'm not that confident in Dunning, what are another 2 pitches we suggest for that price? For the cumulative price or the individual price of Dunning? So you said it's going to run you 14K for Sale. That's 9,700. Dunning is 5,200. I would say don't feel obligated to punt pitcher on this slate. I think there's a lot of upper echelon options. I would maybe try to find 3K to get to like an 8K option, because there's a lot of strong options in that 8K area. And don't let me get you off of anything, right? I always want to stress that you come into this stream and absorb some of the information. Don't necessarily absorb my opinion if you have already had like this preconceived want to play somebody. Dane Dunning is somebody that has had better results at home than on the road, and he's also had a lot of plus matchups lately at home. The Angels, the D-backs, the Tigers, Boston's in Fenway going to be a big-time challenge, and I just feel like even if Dane Dunning, got you one of his more median ranges of outcomes being 10 to 13 DKP, a lot of times that's not really going to cut it from a pitcher spot when there's 28 of them on the slate. You're probably going to see a lot of double 25-plus DKPs at the top of pitching lineups, unless some crazy low on stack just drops a couple touchdowns. So I would say maybe be more so explorative in finding 3K from the lineup itself to invest in your pitching, right? Freed would give me the warm and fuzzies. What's up, CEH? You doing all right? I bet Snell outscores Sale on DraftKings. You might. What up, dang lazy mofo? The mod is late, y'all. I had to do all the mod duties. All of them. I'm off of Snell. I love him tonight. Phillies hit a wall and can't seem to save their life. Yeah, the rest of the NL East just kind of went a little bit stagnant. The Mets, my goodness, man. The Mets. But you just come to expect that from the Mets at this point. Start really, really strong and then backslide. And it happens. I feel for him. White Sox and Rays, next game on the docket. We have confirmed lineups for both teams here. So if you bear with me just a minute, we'll have it updated so we can have really up-to-the-minute information and maybe the best spins possible. This is a nasty lineup. Cesar Hernandez being relegated to the 8-hole after batting second so often. Yeah, this is one of my favorite interpretations, I guess you could say, of the White Sox lineup. I love this. On the Rays side, Brandon Lau, Wander Franco, Nelson Cruz, Austin Meadows, Yandy Diaz batting 5th, G-Man Choi, former Yankee great, batting 6th, Manuel Margot, Kevin Kiermaier, and Mike Zunino batting 9th. So confirmed lineups for both the White Sox and the Rays. Lewis Robert, add him to the value hitter pool. I think Tyler Naquin stood out quite a bit, but Robert's 3K in the middle of Tim Anderson, one of the highest OBP guys you can ask for, and Jose Abreu, one of the highest RBI guys you can ask for, and Luis Roberts, a guy that has a little bit of pop and a little bit of speed, and could be in a spot to pay off that 3K price point. Between you and me, DraftKings pricing usually is a little bit more accurate in how do I phrase this? Usually the players are mispriced on Fanduel a little bit more than DraftKings, but every now and then you'll see a guy that is actually cheaper on DraftKings than Fanduel, and usually that means he's a great value on DraftKings. And today's a great example. Luis Robert is 3,800 on Fanduel. Their salary system's built a little bit different, only having one pitcher, so he's going to cost a larger percentage of your lineup, but just $3K on DraftKings, and maybe he's priced to bat 7th or 8th. Batting second, I think it's a really good opportunity for him to pay off this price point. Like I said, he can steal bases and raise that floor, and he does also have a little bit of power. So you maybe add him to the pool with Tyler Naquin as some guys that can hit for value. I mean, not to be results oriented, but 20 plus DKP in 2 of his last 6, a couple double digits, and you see the stolen base potential, the home run potential, batting 336. Just think it's a really strong spot for him to pay off 3K. So add him to the player pool. Matchup wise, I think both teams are in a unique spot where I could see every outcome, right? I could see the Rays offense maybe sneak one against Giolito. I could see Giolito getting the park boost against one of the higher strikeout teams in baseball, having a solid game. We could see Waka just getting blasted, right? Waka has had an extremely elevated power problem to righties since the beginning of 2019. Over 300 average allowed in each season, over 2 home run per 9 allowed in each season, and this is going to be a really righty heavy hit for average lineup, so you could see the validity in the White Sox stack. So I do believe that this would be the ultimate MME game to target, because I could see a little bit of everything. I don't think I would make Waka a play for me today. I think I can write him off and feel pretty confident about it. I will say in Tropicana, his results tend to be a little sharper, a little bit better. So if you're looking for a soft 16 as a landing spot, maybe he could achieve that against the White Sox, who do strike out to their discredit. A lot of 20% plus strikeout rates. So 7,600 maybe does get you what you want subjectively, but I think I don't put him in my player pool as of now. And then Lucas Giolito, 9,200, really, really strong strikeout stuff. This is probably going to be the most pitcher-friendly park that he's pitched in on the season, just to make a blanket statement without any research. But it's a good spot for him. I do think the Rays have a couple of problem bats for him. If you are a BVP guy, Nelson Cruz's BVP against Giolito might surprise you in a bad way if you want to play Giolito. But I think Giolito's still in the pool. But I think right now I might be inclined to put Giolito as a tier 3, and that just means in my ownerships he wouldn't be a core pitcher play for me. But I feel like it wouldn't make sense to have a large amount of lineups and not have Giolito in the mix. See range of outcomes here: 15, 34, -3, 20, 10. Against the Rays, he dropped 17.9 his last start, 6 innings. So if that happened, right, 17 is expendable in this slate, but the fact that is a potential median for him with a little bit of upside, he's going to be in the player pool. But I think right now I might start him as a tier 3 and let him earn his way up if I felt like I was finding more room for some pitchers. I think we're going to tier a couple of these other guys pretty highly. And with that said, I think I do get to a little bit of White Sox and a little bit of Rays. White Sox feel a little bit more fun to me just based on Walker's righty splits and his power splits. The park itself can really be a stack spoiler, so I'm not going to get too invested here. But this is a fun lineup that I think I get behind and get a little bit of exposure. And 20 lineups I think I don't get here. Maybe I'm a little bit more basic because I do like the Braves, the Yankees, and probably the Reds as well. So I probably would have some other teams that I rank a little bit more high than the White Sox or Rays. But in 100, 150, I think I get 5% of White Sox here. And Rays, I actually don't know if I want a full stack Rays or just kind of value one-off or just one-off period, right? Brandon Lau, that's a tall glass of water to sip on at 5K. Wander Franco, same thing. Nelson Cruz, like I said, a really incredible BVP history. Does have a strong bomb detector rating at 4.23. So to put that in perspective, If we reshort the bomb detector from earlier, I would say 4.23 is still probably like top 5-ish on the slate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's ninth, 4.23. So, that dog will hunt. So maybe he's in the pool, but I don't know that I dedicate a lot of 5-manners to the Rays, because the Rays also have a propensity to be a little bit more frustrating and sub out guys. Kevin Cash can do a lot of platoon splits and substitution, stuff like that. Solid picks. Yo, Gun, what up? Do I just roll Chris Sale on Fanduel and call it a night? I mean, sure. I definitely am there on Chris Sale. We haven't hit that game yet, but I'll see if there's any pushback, but I don't think there would be. Sean says, how does Tyler O'Neill not go yard tonight? Keller sucks. O'Neill's 13 homers off the main 2 pitches Keller throws. Good call. I'm doing another lineup with all leadoff hitters. So, Josh, I like that for like single entries and cash-centric formats. You really raise the floor on your at-bats 5, 6, 7. And usually the leadoff guys in this day and age have a little bit of pop and a lot of bit of speed. Cruz crushes Gio. BVP is fire. BVP is life. Just kidding. I can feel the people Xing out of the video, right? Can't full stack the Rays against that Sox bullpen. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think the White Sox bullpen is really, really good. Let's move on to the next game. We're doing all right on time, 2:55. Rangers at the Red Sox. Dane Dunning taking on Chris Sale. Red Sox lineup is out and confirmed. Kiki, do you love me? Alex Verdugo's not batting second. Rafael Devers is batting second. He's got a really fun bat to go after. X gonna give it to you in a 3-spot. Kyle Schwarber is batting cleanup. JD Martinez, Alex Verdugo. This is a stanky lineup, man. Jaron Duran and Bobby Dalbec. Yeah, it's a dirty lineup. Definitely not one that I would get too excited pitching against. I know some of you guys are really, really liking this 5K price tag, but I don't think I'm pitching against this lineup. And it's probably a lineup I'm more inclined to target for stacking purposes. There's a lot of teams so far where I felt confident in saying I can get to 5-man stacks and feel okay. And I think the Red Sox are another example of that. I think 1 through 6 are very viable. And then, for a 9-hole blast, 4Ks and a blast, I think Bobby Dalbec is there for me. So I definitely like the Red Sox stack. I don't think Dane Dunning is inherently bad, but I also think that maybe he's a little bit is overrated. Sounds so harsh, but overrated may be the word I'm looking for, because a lot of his great stuff has been in Globe Life. I mentioned it earlier. He's averaging 6 fantasy points on the road with a 17.3 fantasy points per game at home. So clearly he's been way more effective results-wise in Globe Life. And then if you really isolate those road splits, 4.53 xFIP on the road, just a 19% K rate, a 307 average allowed, and a 143 home run per 9. So you could see that you take him out of Globe Life and he backslides a bit, and now you put him in a more hitting favorable park, a park like Fenway where the batting average on balls and plays higher than your typical park, and a Red Sox that's this dirty. Like I don't even know that I'd be excited to play Dane in Texas against this team, but you put him against this team that's dirty, that is playing with a fire under them. They just got swept by the Yankees. If the playoffs ended today, I don't believe they're a playoff team, so they got to get back in it. You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and I do think Dane Dunning might be in for a rough night. 270 plus average allowed to lefties. He has been, to his credit, a little bit more effective at suppressing power, but like I said, on the road that has been elevated. I don't know that maybe his road splits power-wise get that crazy different if we isolate the splits, but we got a little bit of time to actually look at that. So if you've ever been curious to look at power allowed or power gained by a hitter, Jesus Aguilar, somebody we talked about, you can go to Fangraphs.com, type in that player, pull up their player card, and then we'll look at away versus lefty, away versus righty. So he's allowed 1 homer on the road against a lefty in 15 innings, so less than a home run per 9, and then 5 against righties in 22 innings, so more than a home run per 9. And to get the actual number on that, it is a 1.2 home run per 9 against righties, or excuse me, a 205 home run per 9 against righties on the road. So I'm there on the Red Sox stack. I think if they can get through Dunning quick, the bullpen's not going to be that scary for me, and I think the Red Sox could pay off. Now, Chris Sale, cover boy of the stream here. You guys just talked about him in chat. Where is the proper starting point for Chris Sale ownership in your lineups, for my lineups? I liked what I saw out of Chris Sale in that last start. Gave up 2 bombs, but it was back-to-back hitters. Just lost it for a couple pitches. Got right back in it, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, no walks. And the Rangers are bad, right? You guys can't come in here excited to play Sean freaking Manaea and Marco Gonzalez is gun. They're lefties. The Rangers were bad against lefties. And then all of a sudden be scared to play Chris Sale against the Rangers. We're not going to allow that. 79 WRC plus as a team. That's ridiculous. So Chris Sale absolutely in the mix for me. You expect him not to be a 40% K rate guy, but I don't know that you don't expect that. He's just a monster. 18% swing and strike rate in that last game. That'll probably regress to like 13%, maybe 12% if they really start figuring him out. But I think that's going to be other teams. So give me Chris Sale. Yeah, there's a couple guys in this lineup that don't strike out as much as you would think. IKF at 15%, Culberson, Ibanez, Trevino. But I don't care. I think Sale is going to be a fixture in my lineup. So on FanDuel, I absolutely understand the meditation, but at 9,700 on DraftKings, just seems like 20 plus seems to be and almost a 70% range, positive range of outcome here. So I'm there on Chris Sale all the way. I don't personally have any enamoration. I'm not enamored to play Dane Dunning at all. If you guys came into the stream wanting to play Dane Dunning, I don't want to be the guy that talks you off of him, so stick with your guns at 5K, and if you treat him like a bat, get home run points, cool. But I'm probably not going to introduce him to the player pool. Let's get caught up on chat. Top third baseman Riley Ramirez Devers. Yeah, Devers batting second is a really fun opportunity for him. 5,800, you got to go up there and get him. Is what it is. I'm not going to overthink pricing because I'm more stack oriented. But I get it. If you aren't a mass entry guy and you really stacking is giving up floor for ceiling, right? So that's really a 150 line approach. If some of you guys are in here grinding single entries, I definitely would be much more cognizant of a guy's price point and value. I think I would even argue that I would feel a little bit better almost at the same price with Riley based on the matchup. But yeah, I get it. Mid-tier at third base isn't the worst. Ryan McMahon's interesting. There's a couple options. You can do every position stacked today. Ray or Sale on FanDuel about the same price. I want to say Sale. It's not a snap call. I want to say Sale though. Just I don't know. I don't really have much for the Rangers here. So probably Sale for me, but that's not a snap call. So if you have Ray as your SP1, I understand it. Let's move on to the next game. The Mariners at the Astros. I feel like my nose has not stopped itching since I started streaming, and I guarantee you there's a portion of the viewer base that probably thinks we have a Coke habit, but we don't. We just have a cat habit, and cats like to leave fur on my clothes when I don't put them up. Astros lineup is out, and it is confirmed. Jose Altuve, Michael Brantley, finally outside of the 3K range. Carlos Correa, Yordan Alvarez, Yuli Gurriel, Aledmus Diaz, Chas McCormick, Jake Myers, and Martin Maldonado. As projected, don't have a Mariners lineup yet. McCullers versus Yusei Kikuchi. McCullers is 9,500. Maybe he gets lost in the sauce of 9K guys, because this is absolutely a spot where he should thrive. You know, a couple $100 cheaper than Sale. If we get to a spot in the day where Sale's like 30% owned and McCullers 8% owned, I definitely would be like, hey, that looks like sexy leverage. Let me get a piece of that. Because I think McCullers has, you know, every bit to drop 25-30 in this spot. He dropped 20 against Seattle in his start against them last game. But you see, you know, against the Dodgers, we saw a 30 bomb. 35 against the White Sox. Those are two upper echelon teams. So I definitely think there's a case to be made that maybe he can do well here against the Mariners. And he is ironically a guy that has performed better results-wise on the road. But metric-wise, oh, wow, 4.33 xFIP at home, just a 23% K rate with a 211 batting average at 0.81 home run per nine, a little bit of walk problem. I wonder if that's just a coincidence. But I think leverage-wise, I think McCullers kind of sticks out as somebody that could maybe make up some ground. And like I said, if we saw that these other 9K guys were projected for way more ownership than McCullers, I'd probably be like, all right, let me get a little bit of that. And I definitely like the Fanduel price. I mentioned it earlier about the hitters. Usually I trust the DraftKings pricing algorithm to reward good players with high prices more than Fanduel. And this is a case, you know, 8,500 for a pitcher on Fanduel is a lot cheaper in context when you think about percentage of salary than 9,500 on DraftKings. The only thing is on FanDuel, you really want that 6 innings, get that quality start, maybe still to win, but the quality start is something I definitely involve in my selection process. And if, you know, McCullers wasn't sharp, maybe he doesn't go 6 innings, but I think against this lineup, it's realistic. He got 6 innings against Seattle in his last start. So at this price point on FanDuel, I definitely would have McCullers at least started as a tier 2. I think it's a pretty soft landing spot. Matchup-wise, his biggest problem has been walks, especially to lefties, a 14% walk rate to lefties. So if you start off bad, you let J.P. Crawford on base for free. You know, he's in your head, and you got to pitch to Mitch Haniger and Kyle Seager out of the stretch. Maybe it creates a problem, but if he can control the zone today, I'm in there for him being a solid play at 8,500. You say Kikuchi, 1.73 home run per nine to righties on the road, at 1.55 home run per nine. He's a guy that's a good pitcher, sub 4 xFIP. The whips has been solid. Expected ERA a lot higher than I thought it would be at 4.48, but the Sierra is 3.88. You said the xFIPs are fine. I probably didn't wake up today to pitch against the Astros at home, but he is somebody that I can respect enough with his cutter to maybe limit the damage. So I think I would I naturally want to stack the Astros, but it would be sparingly, right? Like, I don't think I would allow over 5% equity here, but I would probably get to him a little bit. I don't think I'd pitch him, but I wouldn't push back if you wanted to. He does have a 1-4 K rate. We have seen some surprising performances against the Astros, but I don't think my risk tolerance is the sliders aren't that far to the left that I do throw him. 13.9 against Houston last game, 5 innings, 3 earnings, 1 bomb. So, kind of limited the damage. We're really looking for upside here. So it would allow me to limit my Astros exposure, but I don't get to Kikuchi. But I will be on McCullers, and that would be a leveraged decision. So after we process the player pool, when you guys get closer to lock, you can put your ear to the ground and look for ownerships. If McCullers is a fraction of a Chris Sale or a Robbie Ray, it really makes sense for me to get there a little bit more, just to further differentiate the chalk stacks that I do like, right? The Yankees, the stuff like that. Let's get caught up on chat. Is it a sunny day? I do like sunny. What up, Chris? Is Toronto Atlanta top stacks tonight? I love Atlanta Braves a lot. Toronto, I think, is fine. I didn't necessarily like have them as a must, but they right now they would be a top 5 stack for me, just based on going game by game and them being one of my favorite spots. No, George Springer's a step backwards. They are a little bit expensive, but right now, from what we've looked at so far, Yankees, Braves, Red Sox, or Blue Jays, those are all teams I want to be in on. I want to stack Reds just because the Reds are at home and they're crazy. So there's so many teams to land on that I don't know. Like it's risky for me to designate two teams as a top stack. But I think the Braves are a team that I'm a little less skittish to designate as a top stack than the Blue Jays. That's how much I love the Braves spot right now. I think they're just like in a massive upside spot. Coors. What did Adam say? Balticore's pitching. It's Balticore's field when they're when they're involved in throwing baseballs. Can you cancel head-to-heads on DraftKings? I actually don't know. I feel like no. I feel like if that was an option, if I post head-to-heads and I come back in an hour and Osmo's got all my head-to-heads, I probably would want to cancel them. And I feel like that would just be abuse. So I'm guessing no, but maybe reach out to support if you have enough time to do so. Nationals at the Brewers, next game on the docket. We do have a confirmed Gnats lineup. It's going to be Victor Robles, Alcides Escobar, Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Carter Keyboom, Lane Thomas, Riley Adams, Luis Garcia, and Patrick Corbin. The Nats have a really stupid WRC plus against lefties, and when I looked at that this morning, I was like, that can't be. But maybe it's a season-long sample size. I wonder would it be a little bit more time sensitive. Brett Anderson pitching for the Brewers. I'll make this one short and simple. He doesn't have any strikeout stuff. 6% swing and strike rate. Expected ERA of 5.81. There's no reason for me to even think about pitching Brett Anderson today. I know that the Nats are bad. They have a lot of K rates in the bottom half of their lineup, but he's not a strikeout guy. So I'll take the risk of having 0% Brett Anderson. And just out of curiosity, what kind of pitch count, what we might expect from Anderson today? 68. So he's been about a 70 pitch per outing guy in the last 5-6. So there's nothing here that makes me feel like he's a must play. He got to 20 plus against Pittsburgh. If your risk tolerance and your thought process is a little more open-minded than mine, go for it. But I don't think he's making my player pool for 3 strikeouts. Wonder what a strikeout prop is on PrizePicks. MLB, if he has one. Control F. Mr. Anderson, 21.5 fantasy points. And then for strikeouts, he's at 3. So you could push the 3, I guess, if you thought that the bottom of this lineup could just give him strikeouts. Go for it. Patrick Corbin's been a tale of splits this season. Has been formidable and solid against lefties, but not great at all against righties. 16.9% K rate on the season against righties, a 290 plus average allowed, a 241 home run per 9 allowed. That's been about the same overall on the road. So if you wanted to get behind some Brewers bats, I definitely wouldn't push back. A 5.3 implied run total on the Brewers. Willie Adames kind of sticks out. Adames looks a little bit more like a value on Fanduel at 3,300. That's about $2K cheaper than his DraftKings counterpart. Eduardo Escobar, same thing. I think the Brewers, if you're cross-referencing different sites here, Brewers look like a much more valuable stack on Fanduel versus DK. So again, I think the DK algorithm usually hits for a better average than Fanduel in terms of what I think is justified. And Fanduel, they're coming in a little bit soft on the Brewers, while DraftKings is going to make you go up there and get them. Bats that I would probably isolate to pick on Corbin with if I didn't want a full stack the Brewers, probably Avi Garcia, Eduardo Escobar, Willie Adames, and maybe Manny Pena if he cracks the lineup. pretty cheap on both sites. I don't think I'm getting too aggressive here with either team as far as a stack, but I definitely would want one off from this game. Brett Anderson, being a pure contact guy, a guy like Juan Soto, it's always a chip in a chair to put one in play and put one over the fence. Same with Josh Bell, and then vice versa. We can always, pick on Corbin and this bullpen with some viable righties, and I think there's plenty of viability in this lineup. So that's all I got to say about that. Josh says I need to cancel this $50 with Adam. Yeah. Adam and Greg, man, those guys are sharp. So I wouldn't want action against them. That was a lot going on in the Osmo chat. What'd I miss? What up, Lorenza? Pirates at the Cards. Next game on the docket: Mitch Keller versus Miles Mikolas. We do have projected lineups, confirmed lineups for both teams. Ben Gamel, former Yankee great, Key Brian Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Colin Moran, Jacob Stallings is batting fifth, Gregory Polanco, Rodolfo Castro, Hoy Park. That means today Park in Spanish, if you didn't know. It does. Don't look it up. It does. Confirmed for the Pirates. On the Cardinals side, Tommy Edman, Goldie, Nolan, Arenado, Tyler O'Neill, Yadi Molina, Lars Nootbaar, Paul DeJong, Harrison Bader, and Miles Mikolas. 3.6 is your run total for the Pirates. 5.1 on the Cardinals. Who was it? Sean called out a Tyler O'Neill homer today. Well, let's see if we can justify that with some advanced metrics. First of all, with Tyler O'Neill, he's really cheap as a cleanup hitter. 3K on Fanduel, 3,500 on DraftKings, 214 ISO against right-handed pitching since the beginning of last year. His biggest problem is the K rate, 31.6% K rate. If you can neutralize that, you can tap into this 18% barrel rate. And then Mitch Keller does have a 1-4 strikeout rate. The swing and strike rate, though, just 8%. So maybe he's getting a little lucky, or maybe he's just not striking out lefties and he is striking out righties, which looks like the case. 294 average allowed, a 171 home run per 9 allowed. Yeah, I don't think it's crazy to look at Tyler O'Neill for a bomb, but the bomb detector doesn't have him graded for anything crazy. 393 is about normal for a power hitter. 4+ is when I start perking my eyebrows up, eh? Lars Nootbaar, though. What's up with this guy? 2-1 on FanDuel, 2.3 on DraftKings. I feel like every time I look up, there's a home run from Lars Nootbaar. How many times can we say Lars Nootbaar in a stream? Well, today we're going to find out. Looking up on DraftKings.com player pool and typing in Lars Nootbaar, we're going to click the game log for Lars Nootbaar, and you see in his game log he's got 3 homers. All of them have come in the last 7 games, so maybe Lars Nootbaar gets there today. And in games where he's had 3 or more at-bats, he's giving you a hit in all but 1 of his last 5 games. So could we get to Lars Nootbaar at 2,300 today? I think I could. It wouldn't be a priority play, but hey, if you wanted to play some Lars Nootbaar, go for it. I don't think I'm stacking either team. 5.1 is a nice run total for the Cardinals. They gave problems to Brandon Woodruff yesterday. Mitch Keller, definitely not Brandon Woodruff, so go for it. I think I just cherry-picked the talent. I think I'm going to stay away from the stadium, be a little bit more calculated in my approach. Pirates side, I don't think I've ever stacked Pirates ever, not even if there was a fire. So Miles Mikolas and his 9% K rate to righties might live. Just 4 inning sample size. We know Mikolas is better, but where is he at in terms of being stretched out? 6,900. Nice. 59 pitches in that last start. Oh, Jesus. He hasn't pitched since May. All right, let's see where he's at in the minors then. I already had a minor league tab open from the Department of Redundancy Department to MILB.com. We're going to pull up Miles Mikolas' player card and kind of see where he's been at in the minors to maybe get him projected a little bit more accurately. Keller is abysmal. O'Neill, 7 homers off sliders, 6 off of fastballs. I think that's solid research. I do think that pitch report and pitch type is still got some room to grow because no two fastball, no two sliders are built the same. You're essentially you're accepting one. Also, that's not a predictive metric. I say it with I have a pitch report in the spreadsheet as well. It's what has happened, but also doesn't put context to it, right? Zach Greinke is going to throw you an 88 mile an hour fastball. Somebody else is going to throw you 98 mile an hour fastball. Like, there's room to grow for context. Now, I have seen sites kind of isolate that in terms of, hitter versus pitch velocity or pitch speeds, but same with sliders. A hanging slider from an average pitcher versus a Jacob deGrom slider, and that's not fair because he's an animal, but you get what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be overly creditive of that. And then also, there's room to grow in terms of splits for pitch types, right? A fastball in from a lefty is different than a fastball in from a righty, if that makes any sense. July 29th, 4 innings. August 3rd, 4.2. August 8th, 5.2. And then August 14th, 7 innings strong from Michaelis with 8 strikeouts. I don't have a pitch count from that game, but we saw his best whip, his best batting average allowed. Maybe the blurb has pitch count here. He threw 86 pitches in his final rehab start. So I guess we just treat him as a pure-on starter. I'm going to be honest, guys. 6,900 might be a little too soft for Michaelis, right? You put him in a Super Plus park against one of the worst teams in baseball, and that's the results you're going to get. Michaelis, I think, is in the pool. I think we'll be starting him as a Tier 3 just to deal with the unknown. But I think against this lineup, a lot of 20-plus percenters, 25 percenters in a super pitcher-friendly park. Seems to be stretched out. Yeah, give me Miles Michaelis. I feel like he is, on a... If those last couple starts were in the majors, Michaelis is probably 8,500, right, in this spot, right? That's not a crazy statement. So, yeah, I think there's some value at 6,900 for Michaelis. That's a nice price. I'm there on that. Probably not going to stack either team here. A couple cherry picks on the Cardinals side, but that's about it. Let's get caught up on chat. If you said Lars Nootbaar was a Star Wars character, I'd believe you. What up? I feel like Lars Nootbaar is like if I went to, the Gold Gym Express and went to the counter and there was Lars Nootbaar granola bar supplement like that. That's a Lars Nootbaar. Keller's bad. Yeah, Keller. I mean, I'm not. That wasn't a vouch for Keller. That's just a caution for leaning too much on a metric that really has a little bit more noise to it than a lot of other metrics that we have right now. So in terms of projecting homers, I really like to focus on the launch angle, the fly ball rate, the hard contact rate, stuff like that. A little bit more than the pitch type, just because, I mean a lot more, I'm just being nice to you. Just because that I think does have a little bit more predictive value than history against pitch types. Not that that's invaluable or unvaluable, because I do have it in the pitch report, but for predictive measures, I think that has a little bit more sample to it, right? Let's move on to the next game. D-backs at the Rockies. We're going to Coors. We're at 3:20. We got to speed it up. I got to get you guys out of here and go check out other stuff. And I got the VIP voice chat at the top of the hour. D-backs lineup is out. Nick Ahmed, Ketel Marte, Asdrubal, Cabrera, Carson Kelly. I love Carson Kelly against lefties all day long, all day strong. What am I doing? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm doing me. Christian Walker batting 6, Josh Rojas, Drew Ellis, and then Tyler Gilbert. He's never not ever allowed a hit ever. Rockies lineup not out. 82 degrees out there in Coors. We have a run total 4.9 for the D-backs. Rockies at 6.8. 6.8, that's a lot, but the Rockies against lefties, pretty doggone good. The team overall is pretty affordable on both sides, all things considered. Just Trevor Story over 5K. I'm definitely there on the Rockies. Maybe too much is made of Gilbert's no-hitter. When you really look at the no-hitter, it was really a defensive no-hitter. He didn't get his 4th strikeout until the 8th inning of that game. So what was happening was his batting average on balls in play allowed was 0, and it was actually kind of crazy. It reminded me of the Alec Mills no hitter, where I think he only had 3 or 4 strikeouts, but the defense was there where they needed to be. 7 to 8 ground ball to fly ball ratio, 5 strikeouts. Like I said, he had 3 going into the 8th inning. Very, very lucky game. Don't expect that to live very long in the big leagues, and in Coors Field, things could get really bad really quickly. We did see a 33% K rate to righties, but just a 6.4% swing and strike rate. So it's not like he's a big strikeout guy. Just as a reference, let's go pull up his minor league numbers to maybe see what his median or what he should be. So in the minors this year, he had a 3.44 ERA, 52 innings, 50 strikeouts. So less than a strikeout per inning and a 1-2 whip. So I'll take a shot on the Rockies at home against that any day of the week. So I'm there on the Rockies. CJ Crone. Man, this guy's a monster against contact lefties. Really a monster in general against lefties, batting over 300. And then I've mentioned this in another video, but at home, he's averaging over 10 fantasy points per game. So he's just getting it done. You give him enough at-bats, he's putting the ball in play. Look at the last couple games here. 2 or more hits in 3 games straight, or 2 hits in 3 games straight. A couple bombs there. 3 homers in his last 5 games. He's a monster. He's a beast. He's a mother effing problem. So give me the Rocky stack. Give me CJ Crone. I would really like him to be batting 5th or better here. But the Rockies have to be a team to be one of the more sought-after stacks. And then backing up Gilbert's one of the worst bullpens in baseball. Gomber on the bump for the Rockies. He's 5.9K. He's been solid. 3.79 xFIP at home. I don't know that this is all Coors. 172 average allowed and a 0.85 home run per nine. I guess we'll check out his last couple of home appearances, but he's definitely been like really, really good, almost surprisingly good. So I don't know that's not really a mark for saying to pitch Gomber. Although at 5,900, some of you guys that come at me with Dane Dunning, maybe this is an option to pivot because the D-backs aren't the best. But I still don't want to do that. Like I wouldn't want to throw a course pitcher on a 14-game Friday night slate, but if 5,900 you treated him like a bat and he got you home run points, I get it. This D-backs lineup, for what it's worth, does not project relatively strikeout heavy. A lot of less than 17%ers, so it's one of the more contact-prone teams with a lot of hit for average against lefties in the lineup. Carson Kelly, I was hoping would come in a little bit cheaper. He's one of my favorite plays against lefties. 4,500 on DraftKings. If you wanted to, field stack the D-backs because of Coors, go for it. But I'm in on the Rockies aggressively. I personally don't think I'm going to get to either pitcher. I just wanted to note that Gomber hasn't been a gas can. And then the D-backs 1 through 4 I think is viable for me. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. What's up, Stanley? I made a lineup with Sale and Gray, all 1 and 2 hitters. Great cash game lineup. I like that. If Gilbert's dad is in the stands, then the Rockies don't stand a chance. It is what it is, man. Dad luck. Arizona's averaging a putrid 3.8 runs per game in course of the season. Again, be careful with that, right? Ketel Marte was out for how long? Carson Kelly was down for a little bit. Like 3 earned run average, runs per game, not necessarily a predictive metric. Runs per game, absolutely not a predictive metric because you don't really know who was on the bump, right? Is it fair? Not that Gomber's bad, but is it fair to say, if they got Herman Marquez a couple of games versus Gomber or somebody like that? So I'm not saying that I love the D-backs. I'm just saying you're using some really outdated metrics, I think. So yeah, pitchers, context, words. Braves and Cards. What up, Scotty? All right, let's move on to the next game. Giants at the Athletics. I guess it'd be a good time to take a pause for the cause real quick. If you guys want to hang out with me in about 30 minutes, I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord, chatting it up in the voice chat, carving out my player pool. If you guys want access to my player pool, I'll have it dressed up in the Guns player pool tab in the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet, my tiers for pitchers, my player pool for each position based on my model, and then right here, stack percentages. The two things that I would be looking at the most is my tiers for pitchers, a couple of notes, and then my personal stack percentages, and then of course you would have free access to the, not free, but you can navigate freely through the bomb detector, the Cave Factory, pitch report, all that good stuff. Go to RunDFS.com. Week pass, I think it's $20. That's going to go up in a week and a half when football comes back. So go take advantage of that now. And then also PrizePicks.com. Shout out to them for showing me love as a partner of the YouTube channel, of the stream. If you guys have not tried PrizePicks yet, why not? What are you waiting on? It's a great way to further diversify your daily DFS spend and reward the research that you're already doing. The bigger the slate, the more likely it is to find some projections on here that you feel better about betting against. If you haven't played on PrizePicks, I would say go try it and start with like 2-pick cards, right? The eyes widen when you look at parlays and you think about 10x and $50 on a 4-leg parlay or something like that. Nah, man, go find a couple picks here, pair them together, be a little bit more cash centric, and use this as a incredible opportunity to already to further reward the research you're already doing, but also to put multiple different sports together, right? A 14-game slate, you might find a strikeout prop, an out prop, a fantasy score prop, which mirrors Fanduel scoring that you feel like you can take advantage of, and maybe you can back up the plays that you're already playing on Fanduel and DraftKings, because them maybe getting in the shadows of a ridiculous outlier play on a 1-day sample size, might not win you a tournament on Fanduel, but hey, it can get you some decent scratch on PrizePicks. So PrizePicks.com, if you use code GUNDECKER when you sign up, they will show me some love once a month, and then you will also be able to double your initial deposit up to $100. So there's really no reason not to try it. There's really not. There's literally, unless you're in a state that doesn't allow it, there's no reason not to try it. It's just not. You're doing the work already. Yeah. Lorenzo said, Gun, love how you spice up the D-backs. I'm not really spicing them up, but I do think 1 through 4 of the D-backs lineup ain't no punks. Okay? So, like 1 through 4, a bunch of 300 batting average cumulatively, very low strikeout rates. The OPS is high. The power is decent. Like, I wouldn't be stunned if they gave Gomber problems. Again, I don't necessarily feel inclined to full send it, but the metrics that don't give context, like the team metrics, runs per game, the results oriented metrics, or some stuff that can be overly noisy when you don't have to lean on noisy stuff like BVP, right? And we have metrics to make, we have better metrics to make stronger decisions. That's all I was saying. If you like Gomber, play Gomber. He's a good pitcher, but I just wanted to discredit steam on a certain individual metric, right? Giants at the Athletics. We got Alex Wood taking on James Caprillion. Don't have lineups for either team here. 4.5 is our run total for the A's. 4.6 for the Giants. Probably not going to get to either stack as a full send here. Probably just cherry picking the obvious. Starling Marte, Matt Olson. On the Giant side against Caprillion, he's definitely been more susceptible to lefties. Higher xFIP, 5.4 xFIP to lefties. 257 average allowed and 138 home run per 9. So plenty of lefties with some pop. Plenty of hit for average in this lineup. I do like the Giants as a team, but probably as a stack today, I'm a little less inclined to full send it on them. And neither pitcher really strike me as a must-get-to spot. I think neither team has staggering strikeout rates. Giants, maybe 20 to 24%. But Caprillion is really one-sided when it comes to strikeouts. It's righties and lefties not so much. And the Giants more than likely roll out a super lefty-heavy lineup. So I probably can do without Caprillion. If you wanted to get to Alex Wood, maybe the xFIP would be enough for me to say, that's not crazy. but on the road this season, a 4 xFIP, a 23.2% K rate, 277 average allowed. Like, there's enough of an argument that he's not likely to get 30 plus more often than he's not here. So I probably just hope this is one of the most average games in the history of averageness, and it makes the average Hall of Fame with an average Hall of Fame induction speech, average ratings, average carpentry skills, and then, at this time I'll just be watching CM Punk and hoping this game doesn't go 30-20. So yeah, I'm just cherry picking the talented bats here. I'm gonna be lazy on that one. Let's move on to the next game. Dodgers hosting the Mets. Carlos Carrasco up against Walker Buehler. Mets are in a death row. Literally one of the toughest stretches of a schedule in the history of baseball. And it doesn't get better tonight as Buehler 10.5K Walker Buehler says, hey, you want a late night hammer? We'll go on and get the hammer. As the amazing train timing right there. 7 innings. Why am I corpsing? 7 innings for Buehler in his last start against these Mets. 10 strikeouts. 6 against the Angels. Yeah, he's a 6 to 7 inning guy. The Dodgers have been throwing bullpen games the last couple games. Now it's time for Buehler to go out there and earn a paycheck. 10.5K. I'm in on that. It's going to be one of my favorite pitchers to target. The Mets have plenty of strikeout potential in this lineup. A lot of 20+ percentages guys. So give me Buehler all day long, all day strong. Not really there on the Mets stack. Really no weaknesses for me to isolate Buehler on and say, all right, he gives up a lot of power to this side of the plate. He's just a good pitcher. So give me Walker Buehler quite a bit. And then on the other side here, Carlos Carrasco. I don't think I'm going to be there. Like, I just feel like if I don't have to pitch against the Dodgers, I'll go ahead and forego that risk at the end of a night. Last game against the Dodgers, 2 innings, 6 earnings, 3 bombs. Really hasn't had an opportunity to get stretched out for an 8.2K price point unless he, got beat up and went into the bullpen and kept firing off bullets. There's not enough viability in this price point against this lineup on a massive slate for me to feel like that's an optimal play more often than it's not. So give me just Buehler. Give me the Dodgers stack for sure. This is just a super talented team. The only thing with the Dodgers is you just got to wait and make sure that everyone you want to play is in the lineup. We've seen some staggered rest, but I think the rest is cycled through. So Dodger stack, yes. Walker Buehler, yes. And it's on to the next one, which is the last one. So, guys, crazy thing, my last stream, go look at it. It had 1 thumbs up. 1. I'm guessing you guys are doing better here, but just for the sake of never having a 1 thumbs up, which is my thumbs up, maybe double check and hit that thumbs up button for me, man. Show a little bit of love. I would appreciate it. 50 has been about our average lately on non-last stream videos. And let's get into this last game. Phillies at the Padres. Matt Moore. He loves bad pitches. That's his effing problem. Taking on the San Diego Padres. Blake Snell. Matt Moore is not good at throwing baseballs. He's 7,200, and he has a 206 home run per night allowed to right. He's a 5.1 xFIP. I will absolutely be invested in these Padres. Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, 2 guys that stick out quite a bit. Don't hate Tommy Pham. Is Will Myers hurt? Is that why he's not in this projected lineup, or am I missing something? Will Myers. No, he's not hurt. So you might even see Will Myers make this lineup over somebody. Yeah, and if that's the case, yeah, I'd add him to the mix here. I do think the Padres are a team that I would be after, at least against Matt Moore. I've seen a couple of you guys mention Blake Snell. Blake Snell's just kind of one of those guys that hasn't been a comfort click for me in almost 2 years. But he's also one of those guys I know can be one of the most talented pitchers in the league on any given slate. At 8K, there's definitely a soft landing spot at this price point, right? 16 to 20 DKP, very viable. Very wide range of outcomes if you just take the 5-game sample size of his last 5 games. 14, 42, 19, -9, 27, right? And the thing is, at 8K, I'd probably take all but this -9 to chip in a chair in my lineup. Definitely feels more like a DraftKings play because he's less likely to go 6 innings, but AK, I wouldn't push all the way back. I do think this Phillies lineup is a little bit more menacing to lefties than I would want it to be to get into Blake Snell. A lot of low strikeout rates. Blake Snell can lose the zone, almost a 15% walk rate to righties. So he's going to come with risk. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're there on Snell, you think this is the night at home that he's going to deliver, build on his 34% carry rate at home, go for it. I would say he gets into my tier 3 pool, but if I had to pick an obscure number to cap him at, I feel like 8% is where I'm starting, and I don't want to get too invested there. So maybe, ownership projections will sway that, and there's a world where I just completely get rid of Snell, because this is a Phillies lineup that doesn't inherently have a lot of strikeouts in it to begin with. So I'm kind of on the fence. So I guess let's look at the K factory. We haven't used this in the stream yet. Snell is averaging 5.29 pitches per out against lefties and 6.46 pitches per out against righties. That is really high. That's not pitches per at bat, it's pitches per out. So the at bats that are ending in walks is wasted pitches going against his pitch count, and that's amongst the highest that I can recall from a decent sample size. So that would really spook me in trying to expect 6+ innings from Blake Snell. And then, like I said, this strikeout rate for this Phillies team is really not that huge. So I think he's got more negatives than positives, but the 8K price point gives him a soft enough landing spot where, it's not like 10K Blake Snell here. It's not a snap call no, but I'm not excited about it. I think he's hitting the back end of the tier 3, See what you guys get in the live chat before we get out of here. I think Awesome, if you guys are looking for that, I think they go live in either 5 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes. I don't remember. If CM Punk doesn't show tonight, they're going to riot. That's going to be fun. Mopar says it was probably my thumbs up. Always drop in when I get the alert, and then real quick thumbs up. Then I go back to work. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, usually we get thumbs up, so I feel like it was more of a glitch than anything else. But it was kind of weird to see. I was like, oh, this video has my lowest thumbs up rating, and I was like, huh, that doesn't make sense. Anyway, chat. That's our slate. All 14 games. Hopefully, you guys had some fun in kind of creating some ideas, some processes. I definitely would recommend checking out the Osmo stream because they're going to back up a lot of information with the ownership information, the leverage information, which is very valuable for your big field tournaments. And on big slates like this, there's a lot of chaos that can ensue. So I appreciate your time today. We will not be streaming on this channel over the weekend. I'm going to do live before lock tomorrow on the Osmo channel, and then Sunday morning I think it's me and Eric, and then Monday through Friday we have a live stream scheduled every day at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central for baseball. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, maybe subscribe if you want to be in on the afternoon live research sessions. We'd love to have you, and then we'll try and keep out the more consistent VOD content, man. You guys have been killing it. We've seen a lot of growth on the channel the last week. I think we've got like over 100 new subscribers in the last 10 days or something like that. So that's love, and I appreciate it. And we are going to, you guys keep coming, and I'm going to keep bringing it, not just for baseball, NFL a couple weeks away, man. We need to get the bear of DFS. I appreciate it. That's my nickname, guys. Got the logo. Holy ATL leverage. Man, oh man. All right, guys, twitter.com/Gundecker if you want to get at me. I'm going to tweet out the bomb detector about 30 minutes before lock if you guys are looking for that. Otherwise, have a great weekend. If I don't see you before then, I love you. Good luck. God bless. Go win some money.